Hello and welcome to another how-to video. Today I'm joined by my able assistant Stewie. Say hello, Stewie.
Hello, Stewie.
There, eagerly working away. So today Hikvision have released a new modular intercom firmware, so we're going to take a look at the new benefits and features of that because it does change the whole setup. It makes it a lot easier once you know how to do it. The purpose of the video is to show you how to do it because without seeing this video you probably would struggle. So we're going to look at the modular intercom here. So this is going to be our master unit, so this will be our primary unit, and we're going to actually add in a substation. So we've just got a standard main module with a keypad module to mimic that effectively, and we're going to make that our so master and sub module, main module, sub module. You can actually have up to 16 sub modules now on this new firmware, which is fantastic. It's gone from 8 to 16. I'm going to show you some of the benefits and features of that. So main, sub module, and then we've got the free intercom indoor stations there, all second generation, all standard PoE. We've also got this in stainless steel coming in, so if you want this in a stainless steel vandal proof, we can do exactly the same firmware, but it's in stainless steel and it will be vandal proof. So you hold on while I transfer you over to the PC, where we're going to go through the new release notes and then jump into IMS 4200 and go through the configuration of it. But just remember, intercom, main module and substation, and then we'll program it and then come back to the camera just to show it working. Okay, so let me just run through these features and functions really quickly because there is a lot of them. It is really important that you make sure you're updating the right product. So we're updating the KD8003-IME1. The IME2 is the 2-wire version. So those of you that don't know, we do a 2-wire modular intercom. The only difference is it's IP over 2-wire. So if you've got legacy systems with existing cabling, really old, and you want to use this modular intercom because it gives you that functionality, then again we can use the 2-wire modular intercom and this firmware. It's really important that if you update in any of these ones here, then please make sure you've got the B version. If you update the non-B hardware version, it will be, well, it'll cause corruption. So again, only update the B version, so make sure you check. That IMS 4200 version is now 3.3.1.18. It's moved on from there, so don't use the version on this notes, but the rest of the notes are relevant. One thing to note is when you update the firmware on the indoor stations and the modular intercom, I personally always default it. It uses a different database structure on this new firmware, and when I updated mine yesterday that had an existing infrastructure in there, existing setup, it did cause issues. So I've defaulted it, indoor stations and the modular, and it works really nicely. So I would always recommend backing anything up, defaulting it, and then you can obviously reprogram it using this new style web interface that we're going to show you. It's important that actually when you first go into the modular, so this is what the dark scheme web interface will look like on the main module for the modular intercom. So using IMS 4200 remote configuration, you get the new style interface. It's important the first step you do is enter the registration password. When you add the indoor stations and sub modules to the system using the device management up here, which we'll run through, it will push that registration password to the devices to make sure they match. The system needs to have all of these passwords to match. It stops somebody trying to add a product into it that doesn't have the registration password, so it adds another layer of security and protection. So first step, always assign a registration password. Again, I touched on it earlier, if you do update to this new firmware, then you can't use the older firmware version devices, so you need to update every device on there to be the new indoor or outdoor indoor or modular station firmware. If you need to update your firmware, you can go here to the Hikvision portal. We're on the UK, and then you can update the 2.1.2 is the latest indoor station firmware, and then the modular door station main module, and then 2.2.3 is the firmware we need to update to get this new interface. If you have got a mix of new and old product in a system, don't update to this firmware because it will break that linkage, and then you'd have to buy new devices or downgrade it and reset it up again. So only update this if it's a new system without older generation 1 products in there. Okay, so that's the firmware. Going back to this now, it's forbidden to upgrade the Villa door station without the B model, which I've already said, and don't mix the old with the new on this firmware. So some of the new functions, we've added new languages, so I can just about speak English, but you can see there they've added some more languages, so it's more compatible across the EU. Unfortunately, they haven't added Welsh yet. I don't know why, but Welsh isn't in there. You can now support 16 sub-door stations where the previous firmware version was 8. That's really important because if you've got a large estate, a tenanted apartment estate, for instance, with car park barriers, car park entrances, you've got like in and out gates, so it's a protected premises, and generally some of these larger estates have more than 8 entrance exit types where you need to be able to call from there. So from the older to 8, we now go to 16, which gives us a much wider application reach. So it's fantastic. So you can one main module and 16 substations, sub-door stations. So actually 17 in total is the total 17 calling points. So the public passwords have been changed. The older firmware, it was 3 passwords that you could set within the main module. If you're using the keypad, you could assign 3 separate codes and you could give it to like the janitor, cleaner, maintenance, and then just an emergency code. Now you can have 16 different passwords, and then they vary from 4 to 6 digits where previously you couldn't change it. So now it's 4 to 6 digits. New style web interface, which I'll show you. You can now do screen cropping on the camera or target cropping. So if the field of view is really wide on these intercom products for obvious reasons, because you want to capture the entrance area to see who's there, if anyone may be hiding. What you can do, if it's a privacy issue, for instance, this is where I can think it being used, enable target cropping, draw the new area and click save. The indoor stations will get that new crop target area, which means it reduces the privacy issue that it might have caused before. So that's nice. They now support Onvif, so if you use Onvif here, if you want to add the camera from the modular calling station into a third-party VMS or NVR, you can now do it through Onvif, and that's the stream profiles there. Some other stuff here, improved height connect, convenient. What you can do now, again, you can configure the indoor stations and substations all from the main module under device management that you can see there. Makes it really handy to add as a configuration point, especially for you used to have to configure everything and link it through the link network. Now, from the main module, you go in there, you add all your devices, so just make sure they're active and on the right firmware, set their IP addresses. You don't even have to set the IP addresses. You can, as long as you know the serial number, input the serial number. As long as they're on the same network, it will push that information to it. But I use SADP, set the serial number, set the IP addresses because it's habit. I just do it anyway, and then add them in through the method I'm going to show you shortly. And we've got a convenient Excel format. So if you've got hundreds and hundreds of apartments, as long as you know the details of the serial numbers and the IP addresses you want them to be or are, then export using that export, the Excel template, fill it all in, save it, import it, and that system will then save it and push it to all of the devices. Nice and simple. Really good for a configuration point of view. We've added a call schedule in, so on the buttons now, so if you've got a system and you're using the name tag, the calling buttons, you can actually assign schedules. So say 9 to 5, when you press it, it'll go through to an indoor station, and then outside of hours, it would go through to the calling center. So you can see there, indoor station and call center. So it gives a bit more flexibility in application use. That's quite powerful. There's some holiday plans they've added. Updated the door station sports ringback tone. And then we've got the outer door station call chains. So if you're using the keypad, you can use different calling methods now. So it's to change the method slightly to make it more flexible. External card reader. So if you can connect into this, an external card reader. It's got 2 lock outputs, which is important. Lots of you keep asking me this. The 2 lock outputs can be controlled from the indoor station or through High Connect. So you could have a pedestrian gate and a vehicle gate next to each other to the modular intercom, and you can open one or the other. Or a vehicle gate with a 2-stage opening system where it opens slightly to let pedestrians through, and then lock output 2 opens it fully for a vehicle. So we got that flexibility. And you can also connect a secure module. So the secure module connects to lock output 2. Then that goes inside the premises, and then the lock output 2 is controlled from the secure module. So basically what happens then is if somebody rips this product off, they can't open the gate or the door that's connected to it because the secure module is inside and it gets its open signal from the modular intercom. So it adds a layer of security into it. You can connect a reader into it, and then through a dip switch, the dip switch setting can open lock 1 or lock 2. So again, by default it's lock one, but if you want the reader, that if, for instance, you want to fit a card reader on the other side of the door, so we've got the reader module that we can use to open the door, but then again, on the other side of the door, you can fit a reader and then open lock 1 or 2 respectively, depending on the dipset setting. So again, more flexibility, more power, and they just actually improve some of the functions on there. And now you can set the OSD, move it around and give it a name through this web interface. Enable SSH as debug, so you don't have to enable that by default. And you can also unbind the HiConnect account now that it was linked to through the web configuration. So very, very simple. Right, so I'm going to transfer you over to the IMS4200, run through the setup. I'm just quickly going to pull up the stainless steel PDF just to give you a quick insight into what that looks like, because I think that's really important. Give me 2 seconds. Okay, so for those of you that want to know what the stainless steel product looks like, it's exactly the same as the modular intercom as it is now, but you can see there it's stainless steel. Go through there, so it looks really, really nice, aesthetically nice to look at. Vandal resistant stainless steel, still IP rated, standard PoE, all the functions are the same. So you can see there, that's what it looks like. So for those of you who are interested, it is inbound into DVS, so that anyone that uses DVS or wants to use DVS that are based in the UK, that's what you can get your hands on. We expect this to be really, really popular and open up a new marketplace where we couldn't get into before because people wanted the vandal resistant and stainless steel. We now have that option, so absolutely fantastic. Right, stay tuned. I'm going to transfer you over to IMS4200. Okay, so IMS 4200, you can see, let me just show you the version quickly. So help, about, you can see 3.3.1.8, that's the version I'm using now. Depending on when you're watching this video, there could be a later one, so just please check. The 4 products I've added in, so you can see there, let me just quickly move these up. So I've got a large indoor modular intercom, which is going to be the master one, a smaller indoor station, they're the 2 I showed you on the video, and then a sub-door station. All I've actually done is added the products in, updated the firmwares, added the products in, but that's it. So the configuration starts here. So the first thing you need to do is you need to go to the modular intercom, the master modular intercom, whichever you want that to be as the master, and you click remote configuration. Now that'll bring up this new web interface, which you saw on the PDF. Nice and fandangled, so nice color scheme. So first thing, check obviously the firmware is updated, and again, depending on when you watch this, it could be later firmwares, but the principle should still be the same. Time settings, you can do a manual time sync, so I can do time sync with computer, click yes. So now we've just updated the time, or you can do the time zone, etc. DST, daylight saving, if you're like us in the UK and you need to do the daylight saving, do the BIOS, you can set that. And then about maintenance, you've got the reboot, default, restore all, and then updating the firmware. And then you can also do controller, display module, and sub modules. So controller, display module, the LCD display, and the sub modules, so like keypads, stuff like that, but generally don't need to update them. It's only the controller and the display module, which I've updated already. Security, enable SSH, again, debug more than anything. User management, so you can see there's one user in here. Online user, so you can see what's connected to this. So it's my laptop. Arming, disarming information is armed by ISAPI. So it's actually added to 2 locations. So my laptop, but also a PC, 3.230, because the 3.230 is an NVR. So I've added the camera module of the master module to an NVR just to make sure that that's streamed okay. But I'll show you that shortly. Under network, set my parameters there already, ports and SIP. Now the SIP has changed a bit, like we'll do a separate video on SIP. I don't have a SIP server or gateway set up here. Each SIP is different, and the compatibility and how it's set up, so it's a big minefield. So rather than try to go through it in this, that's really a separate conversation. But you can actually enable a VoIP gateway, fill those details in there. For those of you who are clever enough to understand all this, I'm sure that you'll be able to figure this out. We have got a few of these systems talking to SIP servers, and again, if you need some compatibility or a standout PDF, we can send that to you. Advanced FTP, I don't know if you use FTP, I'm not sure many people use it anymore, but you can enable the FTP, fill the details in. So basically the master module will send images, etc. to an FTP for saving off-site or into a secure location or whatever you want to do with the FTP. Okay, so, and you can choose like device IP address, time, unlock mode, device name, builder number, door station number. So you can do like naming rules. So I enable that, and you can actually fill the details in as needed. Okay, I can't see anyone really using that. Video and audio. So first thing I do is set it to 1080p, make sure I set the 1080p, and then fill the details in there. That's for the camera module that's built in. And again, same with the audio. You've got the input volume, output volume, and speak volume. The defaults are 7 across the whole range, but you can adjust it depending on the application. If it's a noisy area or quiet area, if you need to reduce it because it's a more residential. Image. Now, the one thing I picked up with this is on this IMS4200, when I'm doing an OBS screen recording, it doesn't bring the video through into the product here, but I can assure you it does work. You've got WDR on and off. You've also got image adjustment, day-night switch, and backlight settings. So day-night switch is quite good because the default is auto. Now the backlit keys on the product follow the camera. So if it's in like a covered area or an area where it's dark, but it's not dark enough to put it into black and white mode or night mode on the camera, then the backlit LEDs for the product don't come on. But then it's important that you want to highlight that unit so you know where the number keys are and the name tags, and it draws your attention to it, because without the light it may be difficult to see. I can simply switch it, either schedule switch or put it straight to night mode, and all of the backlit name tags and numbers will be lit up, so it draws your attention straight to the product. So you can adjust it there. I'll just put it back to auto, and then you can change the sensitivity. You've got events, you've got motion detection, and then if you want to enable motion detection, and then the linkage method, notify surveillance center, so like push to our software. Event linkage, so you've got the device event and door event. So again, tampering event, send to our software. Door event would be door open timed out. Again, put that to our software. So if you want to be notified that the door open timed out, so you connect the door contact into this product, so you're monitoring the door, then you can connect the door contact in and enable that function there. Very, very simple. Schedule. This is where talked about on the PDF, where we can actually set a schedule for the name tags for the push buttons for an indoor station. So the default is weekly schedule 24/7. That'll be what the default is. So push a button and it always rings 24/7 to the associated indoor station. Now I could make up a new template plan and call it 9 to 5, and I could say I want it like so. Associate this with a call button. So the call button 2, for instance, I want from 9 to 5. Close enough. I'll just put 0900, save that, copy that to all days, yep. And I want this one to be outside to call the center. So from here, and from here, some people are probably much better at this than I am. Copy, copy, done, save. So now we've got a new call schedule. So if I associate this with a name tag button, which we'll do shortly, or I'll show you how to associate this. From 9 to 5, it'll call the associated indoor station, and out of hours, then it calls to the center. So it could be the concierge phone with the handset, or the IMS4200 Hike Central, for instance. So it's like the center, the software. So it routes the call to there instead of the indoor station, which then enables it to be answered, outside of hours. Really important if you've got this in not so much an apartment, but if you've got an office, like a serviced office block, and you want the security guard or concierge to take that call instead of, because 9 to 5 they only work, and it could be a delivery outside of those times. So it gives, again, more flexibility. So currently only 2 schedules, but again, I've asked for more to be added. Now under the intercom product, like I said before, it's really important. So door station 0 is the master one. So the one we're looking at now should always say 0 in there. With this new style interface and setup configuration, you don't need to go and set the door station or the sub door stations as like 1 to 8 or 1 to 16 now on the new firmware. You just leave the master one as 0. And for you can change these, so period 1, builder 1, unit and floor number, and you can set this up appropriately. But as long as that says 0, which makes it the master, that's fine, and it should always be 0, the master one that you're doing this configuration for the system. And you can only have one master on the system. Session settings, the registration password, you need to put this in when you first thing, before you go and add product to this, the indoor stations or sub-store stations, you actually type this password in, the registration password that you want to associate with to, click save, and then that will then be the password that gets pushed to the linked products to give it that added layer of security. So I'm going to delete that because I have already put one in there. Now it doesn't show, even though I've added one in there, it leaves it blank, so you can't see what that password is. Master station IP address. So again, if you want to put the master station IP address in, so this could be my software. So let me just check what the current IP is. So 0.147. So if I put this as 192.168.0.147. So basically, I've saved that as the master station IP, which is the software in this instance, but it could also be the concierge phone. Time parameters, maximum call duration, maximum message duration, and the maximum ringtone, so you can adjust that application specific. Ring back tone settings, so you can actually add in the like I said, those WAV format files. Press button to call. So on the main unit is the one with the camera, the integrated main module with the one button on there. So the main button, the main module, so button setting 1, I'm going to enable the linked schedule, enable indoor station all day by default, but I could choose 9 to 5. So I could say 9 to 5 on that main module and click save. Now I've got a keypad module set on there, so name tag modules. So only one, but you can have multiples on there up to the maximum configuration, and that's buttons 2, 3, 4 to 7. And again, if you have more than one name tag module, they'd all be listed under there, and you can associate different time schedules with them. But again, we haven't programmed that yet. Okay, so IO settings, you got the input 1, 2, 3, 4. That's on the master module and on the substations. You've got inputs 1 to 4, and you've got the input door status, disable, but then door status, you can change them, look. So you can actually change what they do by default. And then you've got the associated lock output, so output 1 and output 2. So output 1 is an electric lock, output 2, change it to electric lock and click save. So then again, 2 lock outputs that you can be used. If you connect the secure module in, it will know by selecting electric lock that it's a secure module now. And then sub module configuration. So this tells me what the master module has got connected. So I've got the name tag module, a card reader, a keypad module, and an indicator module, and they're all online. So they just basically connect in with that fly lead. Like most of you will know this, they come with fly leads, an RS-485 little connector fly lead. You connect that to the product. You open the back of on the back of the product, there's a little dip switch cover. Open that. Each one has an individual dip switch. Power it up once you've set each module to a different dip switch setting, and they will just be read and online in here. The only one we adjust really is the display module. So you can click on that, and you can screen backlit. You can change how bright that LCD module is and enable the buzzer on there. And click OK. So that's very, very simple to do. Under access control, we've got password settings. So you've got up to 16 public passwords now. So I could set 1234, 1234, save. And then for password 2, I could have 123456. 123456, click save. Password 3 could be 654321, 654321, 654321, click save. And again, you get the idea. So those passwords are saved in the master module, and as long as you've got a keypad associated to that master module or the sub modules, these codes will then be effective to get you through the door. Door parameters, so door 1 and door 2, you can set remain open or remain closed, and then the lock action time, so the dwell time, so default 5, but I could say it's a barrier and I need it to be 30 seconds, for instance, but I'm going to leave that at 5. Card security, you can enable card encryption parameters and then put the sector in there. I can't see many people using that, but we also do elevator control. So you can actually enable elevator control, select the elevator control type, network interface, and put the IP address in there, username and password, and this will link to an elevator control unit, the Hikvision elevator control unit, by this linkage method. Again, not really used it in the UK. It's something that I'm looking to get into test to see how well that works, but it enables you to call the lift or associate a person to a lift. Quite powerful. So that's the menus itself. Now you'll see up here there's two new menus: number settings, which is to do with SIPs. You can add a room number in and then associate your SIP with it, but again, we won't be doing the SIP in this particular video because we don't have a SIP server set up. The one you do need to look at is device management. Now, device management is where you add your indoor stations and your sub-door stations, and this is where you would start to configure your system. So it's very, very simple. The first thing you need to do is go into IMS 4200, and we're going to add the small indoor station. So you need the serial number. So in the remote configuration, I'm going to get the serial number of this. Very, very simple to do. Copy this and close that. So we're going to add this as room 2. So I'm going to add an indoor station. So you can select indoor station or sub-door station, but it's an indoor station particularly. The password of the product, so I've already activated it, so I'm going to put that in. The registration password that you already associated in the master module, they're the same in this instance. The serial number of that indoor station, floor number 1 or whatever you want to associate it to. For task purposes, we're going to leave it as floor 1. I'm going to make this room 2. IP address 192.168.3.67. That's the IP address of that indoor station that we just looked at there. 3.67, look. Subnet mask is 255.255.255.0. This is of that product itself. This is where it would push it to it. So if you hadn't set the IP address through SADP, it would actually technically push that detail to that unit by adding it. So, but I've already activated through SADP. Most people would do that method rather than activate it and push it to there, but you can do that actually. So port 8000 is the default port, communication port. Click OK. Go back into device management. What you will see is this can take up to 10 minutes to come online, okay? So if it doesn't come online straight away, give it 10 minutes and they should come online. Sometimes they come online very, very quickly, and sometimes they come online after 10 minutes. So you need to give it a bit of time to come online. While we wait for this, I'm going to add the second unit. So go in, into here, get this serial number. So large indoor station, serial number here. Got fat fingers. Go back into here, click add. Indoor station password, again, they're all the same. Serial number, paste, room number 3, IP address 192.168.3.194. 255.255.255.0, 192.168.3.1, and again, same default port. Click on OK. That's going to add that one in. So you can see there, that one's added, but it's still offline. Go back into device management. So they're both added, both read the details, but again, it could take 10 minutes. So again, come out with there. Sometimes just coming out of it and going back in actually does bring it online quicker, but we may have to wait the 10 minutes or up to. Okay, so we'll wait for that. While we're waiting, we're going to add the sub-door station now. So again, same process. Again, you can export this. You can export the Excel list. Like I said, fill the details in. Fill those details in there and save it, and then import it back in, which would do the same as we're doing here. So if you've got a lot of product, it may be easier just to do that. But again, add. This time we're going to select a sub-door station. So we got the main module and a sub-door station. Password is going to be the same. Same with the registration password. We're going to use this, number 1 we're going to give this. You can have up to 16, but it's the first one that we add, so 1 to 16. And you can see there, if you try and put 17 in there, it says range 1 to 16. IP address 192.168.3.195, 255.255.255.0, 192.168.3.1, port 8000 again. So we're going to click that. All I need is a serial number, so go back into here, sub door station. This one's a little bit more difficult to get because it blanks it out. Like if you go hover over it, it's in there. So what I will do is get it off the back of the unit. It starts with an E. Luckily it's just next to me. E6729 6729 3741 3741. Okay, so that's the serial number of that unit there. Luckily it was next to me, so I'm going to click save on that, and that's going to add that in. You'll notice it doesn't go into this list, so if I go back to it, it actually doesn't go into the device management list. What you need to do is drop this box down and select sub door station, and you can see that's where the sub door station, so they separated the menus. What we need to do now is give that a bit of time, up to 10 minutes. So I'm going to pause the video and come back when they're online. Sometimes, like I said, they'll come on instantly, and sometimes you have to leave it 10 minutes. We'll come back to you very shortly. Okay, so welcome back. So it's been more than 10 minutes now. So we're going to go to the modular intercom, open up the configuration, make that full screen for you. And the device management, both units are online now, so fantastic. And if you click on the remote configuration option, it'll bring up the interface, the basic interface for that indoor station. So you can change the name, reboot it, restore, device ID, network settings. The device ID is the room number we set when we added it, so you don't need to change that. Same with the network settings, and then this one you can't change because it's the stuff that's been pushed. So we're happy with that, so click cancel. Drop this down to the sub door station, and that's online. That's the second call point that we've added. All done for this really simple to use centralized device management. So all of the basic functionality and the units you add through here, so it makes it a really centralized deployment. Before you'd have to go to each unit, link them all through the linkage networks and put the room numbers, etc. This does it through a centralized interface. So that's very, very handy, especially for commissioning large systems. So we're happy that that's fine. So go to configuration. Under schedule, we set the schedules like we did earlier. Under intercom, go to press button to call, and we've got, but the main unit, so the master module with the camera built in, that will call room 1. We haven't added a room 1 in there, and that would follow that 9 to 5 schedule. And then we got sub module, that's going to call room 2, button 1, and button 2 on it, the name tag will call room 3, and you go on, so on and so forth. So that would then make as many indoor stations as you've added. You can associate to as many name tags as you can add physically. But you can add, say, 300 indoor stations. You still add them in the same way. They would just be, instead of having the physical call button linkage there, they would just call the number. So what you do using the keypad, you can call the room number. So say it's like room number 300, for instance. You just use the call function using the keypad and the LCD display to give you that feedback. So you can just directly type in room number 300 and call it, rather than having the name tag. So the name tag is just for the ones that a smaller system, or the direct ones that say may be more important, but you don't have to have a name tag associated. You just have to have the indoor stations, and then the keypad can still ring a flat apartment that's not associated in this number calling, if that makes sense. So we're good to go on that. What I will do quickly is change this schedule around, because at the minute that's going to call the center and that's going to call the indoor station. Now we're in this time period here and I don't have an indoor station, so what I will do is quickly change that around. In fact, I'll just make that call the station all the time. Copy that, copy that, copy that, save. So now button 1 will always call, just put 24/7, will always call center. Click save. So now button 1, because it's the center, it will always call the center, which is the software. So done that, really nice and simple. Intercom, just make sure 24/7. Okay, now we're ready to go. The next part is if your customer wants to enable Hike Connect, close that down. I'm going to add an indoor station to Hike Connect so the customer can do it themselves. So if they want to add their indoor station to Hike Connect, so when somebody calls their apartment, it rings through to their phone on Hike Connect, and then obviously they can answer it and open door 1 or door 2. Really simple. Also, just a quick note, if you add the cameras onto here, so that's the main module, that's the sub module. So like I said, that's the main module that we got fitted, and that's the one with the cellophane wrapper on it. I can actually open the doors. You can actually open it through IMS4200 Live View, so it's really, really powerful. What I will do is stop that, so the customer can do it from the indoor station, through the software, guard, and even through the indoor station and Hike Connect. So really simple. Again, this large indoor station here, I'm going to add the Hike Connect. So get this serial number here, and I'm going to transfer you quickly. Just run this little tool so you can see my phone. Take you into Hike Connect. Add a device, manual add in, type the serial number in, which is this serial number here, so it's 22999 5840. Okay, so go back to here, so press save, add input verification code, so I already input that, so use my standard one. Okay, adding completed next. I'm just going to call it large DVS indoor station. Save. So large DVS indoor station. So you can see it's added the device and it's online. Click that and you can see that's the live view of the modular station there, and you've got dates there, so someone visited, so it gives you the actual motion detection stuff. You can go to event, no event there, the calls, and then what you can do is you can actually change stay, away, sleep, or custom. So you can actually change that from the actual drop down box now. So say you're outside and you want to change the function mode, click on that. Sorry. And then you can say I'm at home, I'm away, sleep, or custom. So you can actually change the scene mode directly from the app, which is really nice. You've got the door outputs there, so from here I can say door output 1, open the door, yes. Same with 2. So press that one there, door is open. And again, sub door station, I've only got one door lock enabled on the sub door station, but I can still open it. And that's the view from the subdoor station. So the app itself is a very, very powerful interface and tool. Again, you can even go in there and click link cameras, so I can start linking cameras to it. So notifications are enabled. So when somebody rings my apartment, it will come through to my Hike Connect. So if I do this quickly just to show you, because it is really, really powerful. So if I just ring 2. So again, another great feature, if you've got an Apple iPhone, we use Apple Call now, so it comes through like a proper phone call. That's all our intercom products, so I'm going to answer that. And you get the view straight away. You get the view straight away, and I got the... And again, two-way audio, and when I finish, hang up. So that's the actual app. It's as simple as that. To get something added onto the app is really, really simple. The customer can do it themselves through the indoor station, or you can do it through them through this process. It's really powerful, and it's something that I would really recommend, especially if you've got an iPhone with the Apple Call. It makes it even more powerful. So all our intercoms on the latest Hike Connect and firmware, the modern intercoms will enable that Apple Call, so it makes it a lot more professional. I'm going to transfer you back to the camera now so you can see the operation running from a customer point of view, how you interact with it, but hopefully you've learned a lot and you've got some nice ideas and a better understanding of this new firmware and how to use and interact with the product. So stay tuned while I transfer you over. Just while we're talking about the indoor stations, a lot of the functions you have to use IMS4200 for. So the remote configuration of the indoor station, I just thought I'd point this out. Time parameter, so you can adjust the call, live view, call forwarding and ring duration. Call forwarding set to 0 means it'll ring the indoor station and the app at the same time. Otherwise, if you put like 10 seconds in there, it'll ring indoor station and then the app. That's what the call forwarding does. Permission password, so again, you've got the unlock password that you can put per indoor station, so each user has their own unique unlock password. Same for arming, disarming of the indoor station, and then a duress code. Zone alarms. If you've got the unit with alarm inputs on there, you can set these then to trigger down to the software, so then it could be, or the app, so you get to know if there's a smoke sensor going off, etc. And then linkage actions. IP camera information, this is more configuration for the, for you guys to do for the user, but you can add an overview camera. So you could say camera direct, device name DVR, for instance. 168.3.20, that's the IP. Port number is 554, RTSP, username admin, password DVSLDD 2020, and then channel 1, camera 1. So click OK, that's associated a camera, so that could be an overview camera for the indoor station. So you've got the modular one and a camera that looks back to make sure no one's hiding. You can also see that on the app as well. Volume, ring import, call linkage. Again, when the call linkage is enabled, you've got 2 outputs on there. So what I can do is when the indoor station rings, I've got 2 outputs which I can trigger. That could be linked to a flashing light. So if they're hard of hearing, the light flashes so you can see visually that the indoor station is ringing. Or it could be a louder chime unit that you wire, or a buzzer that's wired in. So indoor station rings, output is triggered, which activates something. You've got the relay, that's the relay set times. SIP, if you're using SIP like we talked about before, local configuration, SIP server, advanced settings. Height Connect is where you enable it and put the verification code in, or the customer does it themselves with the indoor station, and then that's your group network settings there. So that's all set up. Now I'm going to transfer you back to the camera so you can see how the user would interact with this. Okay, so the final push on this, main master module there with a substation there. Don't forget, you don't have to mimic this completely. So this has got all the modules fitted. This has just got a name tag module and the main module which you need, so they don't have to mimic it completely. Button 1 we associated to ring the software. So if I press button 1, it's actually ringing the software. So if I point you there, that's actually the software ringing now. So nice and simple. Again, it's following that schedule. So I'm going to cancel that call. This button here we associated with this indoor station, so button 2 calls this room here. I can take the call or just unlock the door, but it also rings my phone, but I'm going to cancel that. This button here, button 3, calls this room. Again, I can take it from the indoor station or take it from my phone. I hung up. Just unlock my phone ready. Press it again. So it's ringing, accept, yes. Put myself on mute. So basically I can unlock the door there. Go operating unlocked. And then I can close it when I'm happy, and then it closes the call. What you will see is I can view the main station, substation, or even the DVR. So I added that DVR IP camera, so you can actually see from the app main, door station, substation, and the DVR that I added earlier. So it's really, really simple and powerful. Really nice. I don't know why more people don't use the app. The other thing you can do is the LCD display. If you're really clever, you can use IMS 4200, the person record within IMS 4200, add all of the indoor stations and the person record, push it to the module LCD display, and you can browse through the contacts. It would be Mr. Davis, Mr. Smith, Mr. Nicholson, Mr. Jones, whatever. Really simple for the person to find your name and ring it, especially on a larger system. And then with the numeric keypad, it follows for the permission password, it's hash 12345 hash, and it unlocks the door. And the same any other code, so hash 12345 hash. That one didn't work because it doesn't go, so hash 1234 if you remember, hash, unlocked. So it's nice and simple to interact with, really, really powerful, especially in stainless steel. That's what I wanted to show you. Hopefully you've got a much better understanding. Apologise for the length of the video, but it's something that you really need to see and understand for you to be able to see the functions and features. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for Toshiba for partnering with us to support this channel. Any questions, please use askdvs@dvs.co.uk for any more content or suggestions or feedback. Please like, share, stay safe, stay tuned, stay subscribed, and we'll see you next week for another how-to video. Thanks all!